back to my channel. Today I'll be talking about Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid and whether this can dethrone The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo or Malibu Rising as my top Taylor Jenkins Reid book. This story is set in the 80s and we follow Joan, who has been obsessed with the stars and space exploration ever since she was a child, and she applies for a space shuttle program and gets accepted. The story starts off with a catastrophic event involving the crew, and it's Joan's job to get them all home safely. And from there, we jump back in time to learn more about how everything started out for Joan. And I would say the themes in here are first and foremost space, sacrifice, faith, and acceptance. At its core, it is a love story, just like it says on the cover. So definitely don't go into thinking this is going to be a book like, let's say, The Martian. But with that, it also discusses the role of faith and how that all plays into the love of space exploration. And I'll be completely honest with you, I was more interested in the space aspect of this book than the actual love story. I also found the relationship between Joan and her sister Barbara to be a little bit more interesting. But that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy the love story that involved Joan. I just feel that the relationship between Barbara and Joan was so complex because the two are so different from each other. On the one hand, we have Joan, who's very determined and confident in her choices, while Barbara is more interested in, let's say, conventional family structures, and honestly, she's really selfish. There was one scene in particular where Joan and Barbara were in a grocery store, and after that scene, I started hating Barbara. But the whole dynamic between the two really kept me engaged. And also, Joan is very flawless. I think the cool kids would say she's vanilla, but she's very observing, she's super inquisitive and calm under pressure. And love was always a little bit of a mystery to her until she met a person in her space shuttle program. So really, throughout this book, she's not exploring space, but she's also discovering herself. And generally, the relationships were very thought out and well written, but that's pretty typical for Taylor Jenkins Reid. And while this, of course, focuses heavily on female friendships and strong and complex female characters, the male characters in here weren't left out, and they also weren't pushed as being bad. I think this was a very accurate representation of what I think it would have been like in the 80s. And I think that Taylor Jenkins Reid is very good at writing stories about a group of people without it feeling too complicated to understand or follow. And it was the same thing here. I was very invested in the entire group. And thinking back on it, Lydia might be actually my favorite character, together with Frances, who's a child, and that never happens. I think one of my favorite scenes was when they went to New Orleans. That just really set the stage for what else was going to come for Joan and her relationship. And I also have to say, I'm not really a person who cries while reading books or watching TV, but the last chapter in here really made me teary-eyed. It wasn't a full-on sob session, but definitely teary-eyed. And honestly, I'm used to that when I read her books. And I finished this in 2 days. It was just so quick to get through. And even the next day when I woke up, I still had to think about the story and the characters. And that just really goes to show you how much of an impact books can have on you. And Taylor Jenkins Reid always finds a way to write these stories extremely realistic and easy to follow. And her writing style is always absolutely beautiful. So, with all that being said, I think I'm giving this 4.75 stars because I do think that in comparison, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Malibu Rising gripped me just a little bit more. I think that Joan could have been a little bit more of a complicated character. I feel like there was just a little bit missing there. I can't really put my finger on it. That is going to be my review for Atmosphere, and let me know if you've read it yet or if you're planning on reading it, and definitely let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!